Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today, and now let's begin. Hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome back to the Manifestation Babe podcast. I am so grateful and so excited that you chose to listen to this podcast today, because I know that there is a plethora, an abundance of different podcasts, and I do not take any of my listeners for granted, any of my downloads for granted, any of my reviews for granted. I so appreciate every single one of you. I'm so excited to be recording today because I wanted to record a topic while it is still fresh in my head just this last week. So it's actually been exactly 7 days since Manifestation Babe wrapped up the smoothest and least stressful launch that we have ever experienced. And I know that there are a lot of you out there who also have similar business models like Manifestation Babe, where you rely on launches or projects or these bursts that you do maybe once a month, maybe once a quarter, maybe once a year, that you rely on to help you generate revenue. So I'm not talking about a membership model here. I'm talking about strictly a launch model. And I know that you guys are hungry and craving some more business stuff from me. I am actually not a business coach. It's something that I decided that wasn't my thing maybe like a year and a half ago. I am more passionate about general mindset and general manifestation and money mindset tips that you can apply regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or a stay-at-home mom or a career woman. I am speaking to all of you. And if you're a guy listening to this podcast, just replace woman with man. I promise I'm not discriminating against you. It's just that I have like 99% women listening. And I know that you guys are craving this stuff. So I decided to ramp up and give you guys a little more business content, mainly because I'm doing an exciting project this summer with my team. And this is for all of the entrepreneurs out there. So whether you are starting a brand new business or you have a business, but you want to get to the next level, maybe the next level is 6 figures, maybe the next level is multiple 6 figures, maybe you just want to make your first 5K month, whatever it is, or maybe you are someone like me, maybe last year, who just crossed her first $1 million, and now she is interested in multiple 7 figures or even 8 figures. Doesn't matter where you are, we're working on a very exciting project. Some of you might be familiar with it because we did a very soft launch for it last October, but because I was in Costa Rica with no Wi-Fi when I decided to do it, it wasn't as big of an impact as it could have been. And we're actually going to treat this like one of our own launches, and it has everything to do with business. It has everything to do with the mindset behind business, the strategy behind business, the tactics behind business, everything with the online business world. I will share with you exact details towards the end of this episode, so just make sure you listen through the whole thing. I'll give you a link. I'll give you a wait list where you can sign up to get more deets, and also a really juicy and exciting bonus that I've never offered before. I'll give you guys a hint. It's a live in-person bonus that's going to come with this program that we're going to get behind in the summer. But I'll share all the deets at the end. I just wanted to intro why I'm going to be sharing more biz tips, business mindset, and if you're an entrepreneur, just get excited. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop any of my other content. I'm just going to let you know that it's going to be a little ramped up until then. So Manifestation Babe has been around for about 3 years. Yes, 3 years. It is May 2019. I started this around April/May 2016. And I counted something like 15 plus launches. Were 2 years or maybe 1 year, maybe 18 months where I just had a bunch of random products that I would consistently launch. Like maybe I did a launch every single month, once a month. And then we reduced it to having about 6 launches a year and then 4 launches a year. And now we're doing 3 of our own and getting behind someone else's launch for 4 launches. And so I've had a lot of experience launching. And let me tell you, every single one of them has been stressful, like very, very stressful. And it's mostly self-induced stress. I know that you probably can't see me right now if you're listening to the podcast, but those of you on the live stream, I can't see you, but just for a second, raise your hand if you've ever been stressed out in the middle of a launch, maybe through the whole launch. Maybe the idea or the concept of the fact that you need to launch something next week or next month or next year is already stressing you out. Just raise your hand because I know it's like 99.999% of us, right? And it's mostly because there's this story around launching that is perpetuated in the entrepreneurial world. And I'm going to talk about that and address that as one of my points of how we did things differently this time. But to give you experience, pretty much all of them have been stressful. And it wasn't until last launch, so the launch that we just finished, that we officially had our smoothest, most stress-free, most profitable, meaning that we actually profited about 100K over our goal, doing so much less of the mental work, right? There's still physical work. I'm telling you, my team was busy. I was busy. We were all doing things. We were all taking action. It's not like you can just lay on your couch and just expect people to enroll. You got to put your output, you got to put in some output. You got to put in some action behind it. You got to do something physical in order to create a physical result. But the mental and the emotional work that was always involved with launching just wasn't there. And it was absolutely amazing. So I want to share with you guys my 5 tips. I think I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, tips in no particular order. It's just something to think about, something to apply to your next launch, something to eliminate from your next launch, because I am done hearing about this whole thing, this whole story around how launches are stressful, they burn you out, they're never good enough, etc., etc. So if you're ready for a stress-free launch, you're in the right place, right? So, okay, let's just get into it. How did we have the smoothest, most detached, which is so important, stress-free, completely, when people say let go and let God or let go and let the universe, it's exactly what we experienced. So number 1 is we finally have the right team. And over the last 3 years, I have had 2 completely different sets of teams. The current team that I have right now did not exist in 2016 and 2017. The team I have right now, some of the members came on February of 2018, and the rest, which we hired one more this year in 2019. So the team that I have right now is completely different from like my initial launches or my initial business ventures in Manifestation Babe. And the first team was filled with other entrepreneurs who really wanted to learn from me or learn from how we did things and simply apply it to their business. And I found that towards the end, because I let go of 2 team members and one of them quit, I found that the moment that they felt like they learned whatever they needed from me, they were just completely checked out of Manifestation Babe. And I see this mistake because it is not cheap, right, to hire employees. You got to pay taxes. You got to structure yourself a particular way in your business. There's a lot of responsibility, right? Paying healthcare, benefits, bonuses, salaries, all of those things I just learned how to handle and deal with just 1 year ago. It's only been a year since we've been paying salary. And before then, it was just these freelancers who worked for us who would get some sort of hourly rate. but there was no, like, they had to pay their own taxes, they took care of their own income, et cetera, et cetera. And so there wasn't that kind of, I don't want to say loyalty, because it's not like if you have freelancers working for you, they're not loyal to you, but it's not like there is this big commitment of, oh yeah, this is my mission, this is the company I work for, I'm passionate about growing this company. This company feels like my company because as this company grows, I also benefit, right? So the last team, it felt like the moment that they learned everything that they could from working for Manifestation Babe, they just checked out. And it was really, really hard because no matter what would happen, no matter what I would try to do, no matter how many systems I would try to implement, it's like no one really cared. And for the first time ever, the team that I have behind Manifestation Babe now, they treat this business as their own. And it is the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed. I cry every day of joy and happiness from how much these people care and how much I care about them. And I've developed this beautiful family on my team where we do have this balance behind, like, hey, we also work together. You know, Brennan and I are your boss, and there's also structure within there because we have something called an executive team and the main team. And the executive team is essentially me, Brennan, and our integrator. And then the rest of the team, they work with our integrator as well as us, but most of the time with the integrator. And so there is this balance, but we're also family. We also hang out. We're also friends. And so learning that balance has been challenging because I tipped the balance over way too much with my last team. And I finally learned how to handle working with people who you absolutely love, are your family, are your friends, but also there's this professional boundary as well. And they treat every single launch that we've had so far as their own project. And this is their launch as much as it is my launch, as much as it is Manifestation Babe's launch. And they are always brainstorming. First of all, they're all smarter than me. Like, you know that saying, like, if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, or you need to hire people who are smarter and better than you. Yeah, that's my team. They're all so much better than me in the area in which they specialize. You know, our manager is a much better manager than I will ever be. Our new copywriter is so much better of a copywriter than I could ever write or I could ever think of. Our graphic designer is so much better. Like, we chose people who really operate in their zone of genius and really operate in where they want to operate. So it's not just fitting them in wherever, but actually asking them, hey, what are your strengths? And where can we place you on the team where you will be happiest? And let me tell you, this has been such an evolution. People ask me all the time, Catherine, how did you hire the right team? First of all, Brennan did the hiring, and then our integrator now does hiring. So I'm completely uninvolved in the hiring process. The only process that I have in terms of hiring is, of course, I'm one of the last steps for, actually accepting the person on the team, because I want to judge their character. I want to see how they are, what their personality is like. Like, I obviously have input, but at the same time, I'm detached in the way where I have more of an objective hiring process rather than, ooh, I really like this person's, bring them on board. My team always keeps me in check, like, Catherine, can they do the job? Can they do the job well, et cetera, et cetera. And the main part of the hiring process that I'm involved in really is manifesting the right people, right? I'm really good at attracting the right people, but the rest, it was really up to my team. And people ask me all the time, Catherine, how did you hire the right team? And I just want to leave you with two things. One of them is a resource that will change your business. It is like our new business Bible. It is absolutely amazing. If you don't have this resource, I highly recommend, if you have a business of any kind, whether it is online or brick and mortar or a massive company or a very small company where you've only hired your first person, I highly, highly recommend it. It will absolutely change your life. But the very first thing that I found was, don't hire people who want to work with you just because they want to be associated with you. I have a lot of amazing, amazing, amazing followers and podcast listeners and readers and all these people who are just so passionate about the Manifestation Babe brand, which makes me so happy. I swear we receive so many resumes, so many people who want to work for this company, and I think that's really freaking cool, and I'm really proud of creating such an environment and such a brand in which people want to come in and work for the brand. But something that I found is like a lot of entrepreneurs hire people who just want to be associated with them. They're not necessarily there to freaking get serious and work and understand that they're not always going to be around the person that they think that they're working for, but they're there to work with a team. They're there to work behind the scenes. They're there to work and commit themselves to the mission rather than the person. Right. And so what we ended up doing is we ended up hiring completely like people who, especially your integrator, someone who had no idea what the F Manifestation Babe was, right? Someone that we found on Indeed.com, where we posted a job description that had nothing to do with me, had nothing to do with Manifestation Babe, just like, hey, we're looking for this person. This is what we're looking for. And we were very, very selective with who we were looking for. We're essentially looking for a unicorn. And we did find the unicorn, but that unicorn had no idea who I was, had no idea what the Manifestation Babe brand was, which is really cool because then you know that they're coming to work there because they're going to treat it as a serious career rather than just like, oh, cool, I work for this company, right? So you might have that right now. You might have a following, or you might already be having people who are begging to work for you and offering their services and offering their resume to you. But you really have to judge that and see, are they really looking for a serious career, or are they just looking for that association and closeness with you? So that's been a big game changer. And the resource that will blow your mind, if you haven't yet read it, it's called Traction. And you can find it on Amazon. In fact, I'm going to have my team put it inside of the Manifestation Babe library, or bookstore. And yes, we have a bookstore. If you go to the link in my bio on Instagram, there is a link that leads you to all the books that I recommend. So people ask me all the time, Catherine, like, you recommended this book on your story last week, but I can't find it. What was it? Just go to my bookstore. I promise it is there, and I'll have a business book section for you as well. And by the time this podcast uploads, hopefully I remember, but if I don't, please email us and just let us know and we'll make that fix and we'll add it to the MB bookstore. But the book is called Traction and it is amazing. And we're still figuring this out. The team still has so much to grow. There's still so many mistakes that we're making, and we have challenges and we have all these things, but finding people who are 100% behind the mission made this launch so stress-free because they cared so much about taking everything off my plate, to where the only thing that was on my plate was showing up live, showing up to the challenge, answering questions on Instagram, and making Instagram posts. That's it. That was my job. That's it. And that gave me so much space, right? Space for creativity, space for brainstorming, space for waking up every morning being like, what does the world need to hear from me about Manifestation Babe Academy? Who must I speak to today to get the right people inside of MBA? It wasn't just like, oh my God, I have this to do and that to do and that to do and that to do. And oh my God. And by the time I even come around to talking about my program with you guys, it's like 8 p.m. and I'm tired and I'm ready for bed. Because before I'd be fixing links and sending out emails and doing this and just so much going on. And my team recognized like, hey, there's a lot that Catherine's doing that's taking her away from being the face of this launch. And she needs to be the face of the launch. And this is a process, you guys. So maybe you don't have a team yet, and that is okay, because I started when I didn't have a team. But put your focus on finding the right people and invest in the right people, because it's going to make things not only easier for you, but also more profitable, because all of a sudden you have space to think, you have space to breathe, you are 100% clear in the head, and then you can really focus on serving your people rather than fixing some broken link and answering emails, right? It's a little higher tier for you to focus on rather than doing the job of what someone else can do so much better than you. Like the way my team handles emails and organizes things, it's like, I could never do that. I'm so grateful that you guys get to talk to them via email. And if you have any like troubleshooting or questions or anything, a link's not working or something, whatever, that you guys are talking to them and not to me, because I would not be as helpful as them. So, number one was find the right team, get the book traction. Number two is I completely detached from the outcome. So, I 100% applied my manifestation process to this launch. And it's so funny because I recognize that every time I'd get stressed out during a launch, all I'm doing is attracting more stressful launches. When I'm attaching stressful energy and anchoring in that negative feeling to a time in my business when it should be exciting and it should be fun, and oh my God, this is like a game that we get to play for 7 days and bring people into a program that will literally change their life. Instead, I was anchoring in so much stress, so much pressure, so many numbers I have to hit. And I would just calculate, oh my God, this is how much revenue we made and we spent this much in ads. And oh my God, I got to pay my team this much. And so I have to make this much in exchange. And holy shit, how are we going to do this? And blah, blah, blah. And I would just drive myself insane. And I decided, or I recognized, like I had awareness from the last launch that we did, or actually it was 2 launches ago. You know what? I have to say my last launch for Rich Babe wasn't that stressful either. There was maybe 2 days where I kind of lost my mind, but the other 5 days are great. And so that's different from me losing my mind for 7 days straight. But anyway, instead of driving myself insane, I got this awareness, like maybe I should apply manifestation to my own launch, right? Maybe that might make sense. I'm a manifestation teacher. I talk about letting go of the outcome all the time. What if I actually let go of the outcome? What if I actually just focus on helping people regardless? And one of my most powerful prayers that I developed in my business, every time I'd go and do a live challenge, or anytime I would push the live stream to answer questions around like my program, or if anyone's on the fence, or anything that you saw me doing last week, I always have this prayer where I pray to God, angels, universe, energies of the highest good, my higher self, whatever, I believe in it all. I call it all the same thing. But whatever you believe in, I pray for the fact that regardless of whether someone purchases or not, I change their life or give them something valuable within this hour that we spend together, regardless. And I have the same exact mentality behind my podcast. So regardless of whether this person becomes a customer or a student or purchases anything, their lives will be blessed regardless. They will get something to help them achieve the next level, whatever that next level is. And I pray for the right people, the people who are 100% ready to not feel like they're pressuring themselves or forcing themselves, but finally getting that nudge that they need to enroll in the course if the course is meant for them, if the course is actually going to help them, not just go to the next level, but go 10 levels beyond, 100 levels beyond, 1,000 levels beyond, help them get the biggest breakthrough of their life. And that's something that I always pray, but I really went like gung-ho on that this time. And I lost count of all numbers. I never counted how many people I had enrolled at all. I didn't count how much revenue we collected so far at all. I didn't worry that we didn't reach our goal around how many people are enrolled in the challenge. In fact, it's so funny. We undershot our challenge goal, but overshot our launch goal, which I prefer anyway. But it was that detachment and understanding that this launch doesn't define my worth. And I gave myself permission to flop a launch. That's how detached I was, because here's the thing. I knew that we had 2 more launches later in this year. So I thought to myself, you know what? I will make it up. I'll make it up. If we really F it up, I will make it up later. I'll make it up in the fall. I'll make it up in the summer. Something will happen and we'll just apply a different strategy to the next one if this strategy really doesn't work, right? If letting go and detaching really doesn't work, then I can make it up later and I can apply stress if stress really was behind success, which it isn't, but I can just apply that later. Whatever old strategy that worked, I can do it later. And for some of you who maybe are like, well, Catherine, what if I don't, what if you don't have another launch planned for the year? Well, just create one, make it up. You get to do whatever you want in your business, right? You can always figure out a way to make it up later. And so you have to go all out in every single launch, within every single thing that you do, but also don't have expectations. And so it didn't matter to me whether 0 people enrolled or 500 people enrolled. It just stopped mattering. And I didn't give this launch any meaning to my success. It did not define my success. I was so certain this whole time in the inevitability of my success that I didn't care what happened in this launch. And not like I didn't care as if I all of a sudden stopped caring about my business and stopped caring about my team and stopped caring about you guys. It's just that I didn't let it mean anything, right? There's no meaning attached. If we had a successful launch, it doesn't mean I'm like the shit now all of a sudden and a completely different person and oh, now I'm worthy. And if we failed the launch or flopped or whatever, went way under our goals, it doesn't mean all of a sudden I'm a POS and I don't matter and I don't have a business and I'm a failure. I didn't let it mean anything. As Tony always says, Tony Robbins, nothing in life has meaning except for the meaning that you give it. And I apply that so much more now to my business than I ever did before. And it doesn't matter how much MB makes in a year. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't define my worth. This is all a game anyway. This is all one big experiment. And I'm going to skip 2 things that I wrote here, 2 points, and go right into my 5th one, which is I turned this launch into a 7-day experiment. And if you think about it, like how I got here, the experiment, the manifestation experiment that I did from my grandma's couch that got me off my grandma's couch was an experiment. It was just a game that I played. And so I applied the exact same thing and I asked myself, who would I need to be for the next 7 days, for just 7 days, to have the most relaxed and stress-free launch and also successful launch? Who would I have to be? What would I have to think? What would I have to believe? How would I need to show up? How would I delegate things? How would I automate things? How would I speak? What is the energy that I would come from? And I really treated it as a game. And I, again, thought to myself, you know what? If this game fails and this game sucks, I can just make it up later. But right now, I gotta play the game. I gotta play the experiment. I gotta go through it for 7 days and just see what happens, because if I am stress-free for the first 3 days and then very stressed out in the second 4 days, then I still don't know what it's like to be completely detached from the outcome. I still have no idea because I didn't go through the full 7 days relaxed and detached and have certainty in the inevitability of my success, whether we reach the goal on day 7 or we reach the goal in a year. It doesn't freaking matter. And no, I did not claim this to be my $1 million launch, and it also wasn't. But I stopped doing that shit because I tied so much that when I have my $1 million launch, then I'll be, the new version of success. Then I will have reached my next level. And I recognize that no, even if that happened, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change my message. It doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change my business. It doesn't change anything. It's just a freaking number. And then the next points, those are 3 points, right? The experiment, the right team, completely detaching from the outcome. Number 4 is change the story that all entrepreneurs live to tell and live to perpetuate, that launching is stressful. I know you've heard this story. I've heard this story from the beginning of time. I would always hear in my favorite business podcasts or following my favorite marketers on Instagram that they would always talk about how they just finished a launch and they're exhausted. They can't breathe. They can't talk. They just need to shut down for a week. They need to go to rehab because they're so burnt out and they hated every single day of it. And I realized that, yes, that could have been the experience for some people, but you don't have to spread that story, because then what you teach to other entrepreneurs who are just starting is this expectation that if they were ever to do a launch in their business, that it would be a very stressful experience. And you choose to come from whatever energy that you want to come from. And so you can choose to make sending an email stressful, or going and doing a live stream stressful, or making a post. You can choose to come from stressful energy, and you can choose to resent it, and you can choose to be like, oh my God, this is something I gotta do. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta record a podcast. Or you can come from the energy of I get to send an email. I get to share my program with people. I get to change people's lives. I get to talk to people on Instagram. I get to answer DMs. Oh my God, this is so amazing. Of all the jobs in the freaking world that I could have, of all the things that I could be doing right now, I am sitting in the comfort of my own home with a fucking microphone and a computer and a phone. And I get to do this for a living. I get to do it wherever I want. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I have a business. As long as I have a laptop, a phone, and a microphone, I have a freaking empire. This is so cool. And you can make it fun if you choose to come from this fun place. You get to do whatever you want. First of all, there are no rules in a launch. You can do a challenge, you can do a webinar, you can do no webinar, you can do no challenge, you can just do stories, you can just do live streams, you can just do podcasts. Like, the options are endless and it's completely up to you. Stop following someone else's blueprint. I see this all the time with entrepreneurs. They're just watching each other and looking for who got it right, assuming that they got it right, having no idea how stressed out and burnt out they are, and being like, oh, that's the formula that works, and that's what I'm going to apply in my business. And then it doesn't work for them or it causes them stress. Well, yeah, it's because no formula is the same for all of us. There's no such thing as templates. That's, I think, the thing that stressed me out the most around like this industry of business coaching is that I saw a lot of coaches giving out templates and being like, here's the template for $1 million launch. Here's the template, the exact emails you need to send to make 100K in one day, or the exact wording in your Instagram post to gain 10,000 followers in 24 hours. Like, so many templates. And I, if I were a business coach right now, which I don't call myself one, what I would say is that beyond strategy and beyond tactics and beyond practicality comes energy, comes mindset. And we all have a different energetic imprint. And what works for someone else doesn't work for us because we have a completely different energy and we're supposed to impact the world through a completely different strategy that is right for us and is in alignment with us, not one that is right for someone else or in alignment with someone else. And so with this launch, I really, for the last maybe 5 or 6 of them, maybe even more, let's see, there's 4 last year and 2 this year so far, I created a template that works for me. And I see a lot of other entrepreneurs, not like copy the same template, but think that the only way to launch is to do a 5-day challenge, to make a couple of podcasts, and to do live streams every day, answering people's questions and doing like pop-up Q&As. And that's not the only way, right? If you're a webinar type of person, go crazy on webinars. If you're a person who wants to bring people to a live event and then promote their product at a live event, please do that. Do what works for you. And always choose to come from fun. Always choose to come from a place of, I feel inspired to do this, so that's why I'm going to do this. Okay? So the biggest difference maker, in that point is that I chose to have fun. I did the exact same thing as last time, did the exact same thing as the 4 launches before that in 2018. But this time I really chose from like, what am I feeling inspired to do and how can I have fun today? How can I treat this as a blessing? And how can I treat this as, holy crap, I get to do this. I get to do this to make a living. I get to do this to bring abundance into my life, and to bring abundance into my business, bring abundance into my family, bring abundance into my team, and bring abundance to the world, because that's what I'm teaching people. I'm empowering other people through my program how to bring abundance in their life. So everybody wins from me having fun. Nobody wins if I'm stressed out, the team's stressed out, less people enroll, which means less lives change, less of an impact made. Nobody's happy. Nobody is happy from that strategy. So if that stressful story or that stressful strategy isn't working for you, do a 7-day experiment, or however long your open close cart is. I know there's people who do 3-day open cart close cart. I know people who do 1 day, people who do 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. Just treat it as a game the whole way through, and then treat that, apply that exact same attitude towards the rest of your business. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm just treating today as the new game that I'm playing, the new experiment of how can I show up in my most inspired state? How can I have fun? How can I share my truth? How can I not get offended by people who don't like my truth, which I embarrassingly got involved in a little online argument. I can't believe I'm admitting this, but someone was just like completely just tearing me down on some other page saying how what I teach is destroying the environment, it's destroying planet Earth. And they don't even realize that most of my teachings, when I talk about abundance and I talk about the attainment of wealth and money and power, I'm reminding people that you get to vote with your freaking dollars. And when you have wealth, you get to go buy the Amazon forest and protect it. You get to put laws into effect with your vote and your power that annihilate plastic use. You get to create foundations and organizations that protect the world or create social change or make all these impacts. And I just got involved with that. And I realized, like, that's not who I am. I don't have to justify myself. They don't know me. My content isn't a full expression of who I am. And I just need to calm down, and I just need to come from service and come from love and come from compassion. And every single day I choose the energy from which I come from. And you can apply that to your business every single day, not just your business, your life. And honestly, as entrepreneurs, especially if you have a personal brand, you are your business and your business is you. So the more that you grow yourself and the more that you transform and the more of the energy that you feed into the right things versus the wrong things and the good things versus the bad things and the empowering things versus the disempowering things, the better off everyone is, right? So number 4, and this is going to apply to females only. So if you are a female entrepreneur, something that I have always kind of known about, but never really came to me to be like, oh, I should try this, right? Something sounds right about this. Something that I did with this last launch, which is the first launch I've ever done this with, which I honestly don't remember if this was planned or this is an accident, but it turned out that my launch fell perfectly within my cycle, my menstrual cycle, to where the day that the cart opened was my ovulation day, which if you're a female, you know that on ovulation day, you are high vibing, you are happy, you are energetic, you are confident, you're a clear communicator. Like, life is effing good on ovulation day, right? Because your hormones are in that place to, evolutionarily get you out there and get you socializing with potential mates so that you can make a baby, right? It all makes sense. Your hormones are working for you to create, for you to procreate. And I've noticed before in the past, a lot of my launches would fall right in the week of PMS. And I, never having awareness of cycle syncing and cycle timing, that the reason why I felt so stressed out and the reason why I felt so burdened by my launch is because I would launch in a time of my cycle when I was most introverted and most focused inward and most kind of grumpy and cranky and not really feeling myself. And so it's no wonder that I didn't put my best energy into those launches. No wonder it felt forced, is because I have to force myself out of bed. And so immediately, and I'll give you guys all the books that I've read, all the resources, places you can find this. There's so much that women don't know about their cycles and the timing of their cycles. There's so many women who don't track their cycles. And let me tell you, if you're over 50 in menopause, you can still apply this. You can still do this. It's using the moon to help you track rather than, what's going on inside your body. So it still works, and still works if you're missing a uterus. Like, there's so many different, things that a lot of people have questions like, well, I had a hysterectomy, or well, I'm over 50, or well, this, blah, 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 blah. You can still figure out how to do this. So regardless of how old you are, as long as you are a female with functioning ovaries, or at least a female who is hormonally a female, right? Like, this will apply to you. I'll share with you all the books, but I just want to share with you the experience because I'm not an expert. I'm not going to tell you, anything about estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone right now, even though I know quite a bit about it just because I am a bio major and I used to study the reproductive cycle. I never recognized how you could use this in your business, and you can sync your business with your cycle. And I actually set new rules. So immediately I went to my next 2 launches, and made sure they fell in the time of my cycle when I would be most extroverted, or when I would be happiest, or when I would feel my most high vibe. I told my team that of the fourth week, because the cycle basically day 1 starts the day of your period, right? And then the last day, 28, is like the day before your next period. So they count week 1 as your period, week 2 as when the what is it called? Follicular? No. God, I'm not remembering right now. But anyway, week 2 is when you're coming close to ovulation. End of week 2 is ovulation. Week 3 is when hold on. Week 2 ovulation, week 3, I think week 3 is when it's going back down, and then week 4 is your PMS week. And I made sure, and I told my team already this, that we are not scheduling anything on my calendar the week that I have PMS, or the week that I am, according to my cycle, not as inspired to go out into the world and talk to people and hang out and promote myself and do all these things, right? And it's so funny because the moment that my launch ended was that next phase of my cycle. And that's why I haven't showed up on the podcast in a week. That's why I didn't post on Instagram for a solid 5 days, is because I could not be bothered. I did not want anything to do with social media. I just wanted to lay on my couch and eat my tangerines and read a good book. That's all I wanted to do. And it fell so perfectly in line because guess what? Now I can take 4 days off. I don't have to show up somewhere. I don't have to record a podcast. I don't have to show up to a podcast interview. I get to chill. I get to chill out, which is so cool. And when you don't have awareness of this, you're working against your cycle, then you might be having your days off during the time when you're most inspired to put an action into your business, and then forcing yourself to launch or work through those times in your cycle when you're feeling less inspired to do those things. And then, of course, I know you guys are going to have this question. I get the best questions from all of you in my DMs and my comments and emails, and you guys are the ones who inspire my content because I constantly have things to share because of the great questions. A lot of people are going to ask, well, Catherine, can't you supersede your cycle or your hormones by using your mindset, by manifesting all of that away or manifesting it not to affect you? And that's a very interesting question. And of course, your mind is very powerful, but you also have to remember that you are incarnated into the 3D world and you're given a body for a reason. And when you work against your body, you might as well not be a human being on planet Earth. Right? So working with your body rather than against it and acknowledging how your body works, right? If you're a male, you have cycles every single day. So you don't have like full on 3-4 day periods where you're feeling one way and then the next week you're feeling a different way. For you, it's pretty much, from what I remember, from what I've read so far and what I've educated myself to understand so far, is that men have daily cycles. And so you could be up 1 hour, down the next hour, and then it's not as extreme for women. It's not like a longer period of time. You have like 24-hour cycles versus we have like between 28 days to 32 days or whatever the number is. But anyway, when you work against your body, like a lot of people say, well, can't you just manifest health even though you have breast implants in? Can't you just manifest health even if you're eating junk food and sitting on your couch? And it's like, listen, you're still a human being. You still have a body for a reason. You should probably work with your body and not give it any toxins and not go against your hormones. You might as well work with them and figure out how they work and combine that with mindset, combine that with spirituality, and get that like big ass boost on the days when you feel most inspired to do something, and then relax and chill and have fun and go on vacation on the days when you just don't give a crap about anything and you just want to chill axe. I'll give you guys some books. It'll be in the show notes. I'll add some more books to my MB bookstore. So don't worry about, me listing them right now or you taking notes, but there's lots of really good ones. And honestly, this has to do with feminine energy as well and femininity. And it's just such a beautiful thing to get in sync with your own feminine energy and apply that to your business and stop using these exhausting masculine tactics, especially if you're not masculine at your very core. Don't think that you can only build a business being masculine. You can balance the two energies because you're honestly more masculine when you're ovulating because of that surge in testosterone, and you're a lot less masculine on other times of your month. So it's not about just being only feminine or only masculine. It's about learning how to balance the two and learning when you can express yourself most easily and successfully through whichever energy that you choose to express yourself in. So those are my tips. I'll again share all important links for books and anything that I have mentioned here inside of the show notes. But those are my 5 reasons or 5 tips or 5 observations that I've had in the last launch to share with you, because I've had so many of my entrepreneurial friends reach out and say, Catherine, you didn't seem stressed at all during this launch. Like, it seemed so easy for you. And it's cool that you guys noticed, because it did feel that way for me. So this summer, I promise I'll share with you what's going on this summer. Manifestation Babe is getting behind the Wedmore crew. And what I mean by Wedmore crew, I'm talking about James Wedmore and his team. And we are getting behind his launch of the best, the most amazing, the most in-depth, the most advanced business course that I have ever come across, ever taken myself, ever experienced, and ever witnessed other people going, and getting results through the course in all history of my entrepreneurial days. And his program is called Business by Design, and it is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to get behind his launch. I'm going to be an affiliate. And something that I'm offering for this launch is not only sharing more of my own business stuff and how you can manifest your business by design, but actually I'm going to get involved and do a bonus, which is going to be a live experience. It's going to be a live bonus. You guys are always asking me to do a live event. Well, maybe, just maybe, your dreams may have come true. I'm not going to share any details yet, just because we have a couple months to figure everything out, but when that launches, it's going to be huge. It's going to be amazing. And I cannot wait for it. I'm literally so excited. And make sure to get on my wait list just so you can be a part of my bonus experience. And the link for that, again, will be in the show notes. It's in the link in my bio. But if you go to Manifest Your Business by Design, kept it very, very easy and simple, manifestyourbusinessbydesign.com. Get on the wait list, and then you'll have access to all the deets as we get closer. And I'm freaking stoked. You guys all know and love James Wedmore. If you don't, you're missing out. He is my mentor currently. He's so inspiring. He's so woo, but also very practical and strategical and so freaking smart, and such a kind, genuine, compassionate, amazing, incredible soul. If you're not already following him, find him at his Instagram handles at James Wedmore. Amazing man. And see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, last things last. If you guys enjoy this episode, I always appreciate any shares, any screenshots, additions to your story. Tag me, share your aha moments, share your takeaways, share this with a friend, and spread the word. And if you really enjoy this podcast or this episode or podcast in general, I'm still doing my hypnosis giveaway. So if you leave a review and you screenshot it before you submit it, because iTunes is pretty much going to collect it and then approve it, and then it's going to post on the podcast. So you want to make sure you get some proof that you left a review before that happens. Send my team an email to hello@manifestationbabe.com with your screenshot, and we will give you a free manifestation hypnosis as a gift, as a thank you for loving and supporting the podcast. Because the more you guys leave reviews and share it with your friends and add it to stories and inspire people to listen to the episodes, the more that this grows in the rankings and the more people can find this podcast, and the more I feel inspired to come on and share with you guys all of my juicy goodies around money, manifestation, mindset, and online business. All right, you guys, I love you so much. I hope you have an incredible weekend. At the time of this recording, it is Friday. I don't know when exactly it's going to be up. Hopefully Monday, hopefully Tuesday. But regardless, I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have a great week. And I will catch you in the next episode. I'm actually going to share my breast implant illness progress and how my health has been since it's been almost a month since I removed my breast implants, and it's been almost a week, actually just over a week since I removed my IUD. So I'm foreign object free, and I want to share with you my whole surgery experience, my body changes, stuff that I, have experienced in the last month, the symptoms that I had, an update on my symptoms. Have they gone away? Have any of them stayed? All of those details are coming soon. So I think that's going to be my next episode. But anyway, love you guys. Have a great day. Mwah. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following @ManifestationBabe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.